Howdy folks, real blast from the past tonight. Working on my very first RC helicopter. This is an XL40 by Miniature Aircraft. I got this in 1989, so it's 31 years old, and yes, it still does fly. I learned to fly on this, and this is what pretty much started my lifelong obsession with the hobby. As you can see, it's had some updates, all carbon fiber frames now, blades, tail boom. I've got a write-up on this heli on my website. I'll link to it below in the description in case anyone's interested. Of course, the old heliball muffler that so many people hated, but it's so cool and retro, I have to keep it. And like I said, this is what messed me up and got me totally hooked on the hobby in a big way, and now that's our state of affairs now. There's my turbine, I love that thing. Good old Sharky, he has seen better days. Pine trees and fiberglass generally don't mix. If I was a better airbrusher, I could hopefully fix that up one day. But mostly flying electric now, as you can see, and like scale. But it all started with good old the good old XL here. At any rate, while I was working on this, I had to dig out the documentation on it, of course, and came across something really cool I thought a few people might like to see. So we'll have a look at it. This is Rotary Modeler Magazine. It's an issue from September, October '94. And if you're just getting into the hobby, thought it might be kind of neat to take a look down memory lane. And there's a really insightful article at the back that brings us right to present day. Let's have a peek. Prepare to be amazed. So, very first page, we've got a shot of Mike Mass doing his famous inverted landing on a little pin. And Mike Mass, for anyone who doesn't know, he was a innovator in our hobby, really pushed the boundaries of it. Likely responsible for today's 3D flight. He was the first person to fly a helicopter inverted, I believe back in 1979. Excellent pilot, both rotary and fixed wing. And I believe he's also the person behind Rotary Model Magazine. So the average advertising, they're going to be looking at a Century Ninja Pro, the OS Max 32H Heli Nitro engine. There's a big write-up on the TSK MyStar. And one thing, well, we're going through this, just all the names that have dropped out of the hobby now. You know, very few of these names, as far as brand names go, that are even recognizable anymore. Like whatever happened to TSK. Pretty neat helicopter at the time. For belt driven, so all you Goblin guys, yep, this was a belt driven 30. Neat layout. The Hiller Bell mixing system, very similar to T-Rex's when they still had flybar models. Of course, everything back here, back then, was flybar. Still all mechanical gyros. There's a few advertisements in here for the first piezoelectric tail gyros. And yeah, back in the day, this was our internet. Just some of the prices. Now, here's some kit prices. $279, $469, $319, $399. You know, these are 30, 40, 50 size helicopters, so you know, double that in today's money, and no electronics, no nothing. So prices were high. Neat article on rotor blade design. Remember reading that. You know, having full metal machined rotor heads, big thing in the day, big thing. Yellow fuselages. And if they look familiar, yeah, these are Funky fuselages. Yellow was the importer then for Funky, which later Century Helicopter then started bringing in Funky. Now they're gone too, so have to get them direct from Funky now. Same prices as today. What's a Bell 222, 60 size deluxe paint, $500 direct from Funky today. Nice little lathe. Neat article on choosing your first fuselage. And since scale was my obsession in the hobby, or that was my big draw in the hobby, so yeah, I remember reading this. Brings back so many memories. There's the TSK MyStar kit, starting at $499.99. So essentially, with an engine, $600. So double that, $1,200. No electronics. Yep, things have changed. How they have changed. Look at this, the first pitch and throttle curves. That doesn't look like a pitch curve that anyone would use today. Just amazing. I don't know why it's so lopsided like that. Was this before they used symmetrical collective ranges? Who knows? The little mosquito, remember it? Big cooling fan on it, really cool. 4-cycle, 4-stroke heli engine. The YS Futaba 91 AC. Little article on 4-stroke. More fuselages. Look at this. One of the first heli flight sims, True Flight. Helicopter and fixed wing. Only $249.95, so that'd be like paying $500 today for a flight sim. So cool. RoboCup 94. Look at some of this cool stuff. Rotary debut Futaba Sky Sport 6VH 6-channel FM helicopter system. Not even PCM yet. Look at this, Boca bearing. Hey! Awesome! So Boca bearing was around in the day. Good to see. Good to see a few manufacturers are still in business. Belt start. Neat article on anodizing and powder coating. Pros and cons of each. First, well, one of the first, it says world's first solid-state electronic gyro for model helicopters. So there's one of the first MEMS gyros, 1994. And we were all using, what's it say, uses drawing less than 10% of what standard mechanical gyros draw. Just $219, and that is the price of probably one of, now you can get full flybarless systems, high-end ones for less than that. Okay, here's the good article. I'm just going to stick my paw in here so I don't lose it. This was a neat article, auto balance. I was talking about this auto balance system that uses rotating balls in a race, very much like fluid balancing in like washing machines. I'm not going to pretend to understand the physics, but when you get a resonance oscillation, for some reason there's a property that causes the weight to move to the opposite half of the oscillation, and it will stop it. And this is always, it's dynamic, it's able to self-correct for variation and for transitional resonances, all kinds of things. And here they're talking about one for the top of your rotor head and one for your tail rotor shaft. Never did see these come on market. If I'm wrong, comments below, please correct me. Showing how to set it up. Neat little lathe and milling machines. IR/CHA happenings. RotorTech, Arizona's exclusive RC helicopter shop. Huh. Nice scale used 500D. Miniature aircraft full page spread. Pretty neat. Remember, safe flying is no accident. How true. How true. Here's another flight simulator advertisement. RC Aero Chopper, the best bar none for IBM PCs and compatibles. Apple Macintosh SE Plus Classic, Commodore, Amiga, Atari ST. Making a new legend, the TSK MyStar. Back issues. Look at this, the Futaba Z PCM 1042, not even 2048 yet. So this Heli Philosophy in the Future article, so good, by Orrin Haynes, and this guy had some pretty gifted insight. Just going about the hobby as a sport, about competitive flying being the big draw, but there's a few paragraphs that stood out. As RC helicopter art and technology continue to evolve, I foresee a day when our technical skills will be more highly valued in the community at large. This will develop as remotely piloted helicopters capable of lifting sizable loads and positioning them with precision and reliability begin to become a fact of life. I know there will be uses for this expertise, technical skill, piloting skill, and knowledge beyond anything I have been able to imagine. So certainly a lot of that has come true. The piloting skill, not so much, because quadrotors and drones, they're all GPS, a monkey could fly them. But as far as expertise, as far as systems and setups and maintaining, yes. Now this is what really got me. Someday there will be a need to formally define our purpose for FCC and/or FAA regulations. If that doesn't hit a chord with everyone, nothing will. Our hobby is being regulated to death by almost every governing body worldwide. They have completely villainized our hobby. That obviously wasn't Orrin's concern. He saw it as a positive, as the progression of our hobby, but who would have thought they'd villainize it? Still to this day, no governing body that I know of has done a proper science-based risk assessment study into the dangers or non-dangers of recreational radio-controlled aircraft. Certainly beyond line of sight, drones, that's a different ball of wax. I'm talking helicopters, airplanes, gliders, line of sight RC flight. No studies, nothing. Pigeonhole us all, make us all pay the price. This is to every governing body that's doing that to our hobby, wrecking it for everyone. I digress. The last paragraph here is especially insightful. Further into the future, but not as far as you might think, there will be the need for contests for the first pilots to fly an RC chopper through an obstacle course while only viewing images on a TV monitor. The pilots will be viewing telemetry signals transmitted in real time, live from their choppers. How is that for gifted intuitive insight? Just amazing. And here is an image. I'll just read what it says. Photo snapshot of black and white TV image on monitor at ground receiving station as Shuttle ZX, powered by OS32, carrying Plane Talk Data Link Minicam, makes final approach to author pilot's backyard. 1994, folks, 26 years ago. As I said, gifted insight. Cheers, folks. Have a good one.